Something with TSA, her ID didn't check out.
Okay, she probably maybe too many ounces in her toothpaste or something.
We'll go with that.
Wow. Anyway, this is one of maybe Bruckus's MVP.
I would say absolutely.
All right.
MVP for the day, MVP for the weekend.
MVPCL.
Take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. All right. With Anna and Legan here, we're going to review some of the action from the last round. We are going to take a look at the standings as well. Now that every team has played, we'll look at men's first. As you see, Oregon sitting pretty on top of Pool A. They're the only ones who've played 2 games there. Colorado and Carleton also undefeated, although Carleton have the lowest point differential in their Pool C. And then North Carolina, UMass, and Pittsburgh also in a 3-way tie at the top of Pool C. A team not doing so well on the day is Brown. We just saw them on Field Pass against Michigan. I believe we've got some highlights for this game. Brown gave up 2 breaks in the second half to lose 15-13 and 0-2 in a pool where you've only got 4 games. Anna, that's a tough position to be in.
That is quite the tough position, but I love this play right here. I don't love the dropped pull, but I love the ambition to get the disc back immediately. Michigan played a really hard-fought game. They were in it from beginning to end, and I don't want to rub it in your face, but I did pick Michigan, didn't I?
You did, Anna. We texted about it. We talked about it. You said you were wrong, Edward. And I didn't believe you until this moment.
I think that gives me 2. I'm 2 up on you.
Yeah, you're basically Michigan and I'm Brown.
That
at this
some
point.
some may say. Some may say. Some may also say go blue.
Wow. Wow. Just because your wife would say go blue. You have to give it to me. Okay. That's the action from the men's division this round. I want to take a look at the women's division. We had a pretty good game between a pair of the top seeds in A. So you see Carleton came out on top. They're 2-0 at top of the pool. Colorado, it looks bad at 0-1, but their only game was against Carleton, and they lost, 14-11?
15-12. I think they're positioned really well in their pool. It was a great game. I was very impressed by the Colorado handler set of Noah, Emma, and Simone in particular. But at the end of the day, it was Hakimi's game. She is our running assist leader, if I am not mistaken.
Wait, so a rookie is currently leading the tournament in assists?
She's doing great. She had a fantastic game. She's able to play the disc on both sides, get the D, immediately pick it up, rip it.
A couple of huge backhand rips here, yeah. Wow, not bad from the rookie. She's the favorite, I'd say, for winning Rookie of the Year, and comes as no surprise with her accolades coming in, which is to be expected. Yeah, we've got the assist table on the women's side. Chloe Hakimi, Calliope Cutchins of Michigan, Zoe Young of that Tula side, who we saw just putting up the last goal there against Oregon. Ollie Bunsen of Western Washington, and Leah Schwartz. Schwartz is one of those players that we expect to be near the top of this table all weekend long as well.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to pop over to Tufts yet, but I'm excited to take a peek at Leah Schwartz. I know she's a good player. Excited to see how she fares this weekend.
We didn't pause on it when we were looking at the standings, but it's worth noting that the Vermont win over Washington a round ago, 2 rounds ago.
A game I picked.
Another game that you picked to my detriment.
Yes.
Has thrown Pool D into quite a bit of intrigue.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think that leads me to our next pick for the next round. I'm sticking with Vermont. We have Legan the Stallion joining us today, so
we'll take a look at the full slate. As you can see down in the bottom right-hand corner, one of the Field Pass games is Penn Venus versus Vermont and Ruckus. You watched a lot of that Vermont-Washington game earlier. You were on the sidelines. What did you notice from the Vermont team?
I think Vermont played the wind a lot better than UW, which was a little surprising to me, to be very honest. But Vermont used the width of the field. They used the length of the field really, really well. And so I'm excited for them to continue that momentum. Well,
no problem. I'm happy to pick Penn here. They've got Grace Maroon. And, okay, here's an underrated part of the college game. Every now and then, you get a fully fledged grad student who transfers over into your program from another program. So alongside all their own homegrown talent, they've got Sydney Neal, who is at the top of the Duke program for years, just coming in as a 5th year to help stabilize the entire line. I love it.
That's so exciting. I do love those storylines.
And I'm sure that's the kind of fact that's going to make me right about this next pick.
I look forward to that article.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, as we know and as Legan knows, it's still National B-Team Day. Another one of the games on stream is between UCLA and Georgia on the women's side, a crucial match to determine who ends up in the bracket. Both of them have good B-team names. Can I quiz you again, Anna?
I would love nothing more than.
All right, you want to start with UCLA or Georgia?
Let's go Georgia.
Okay, Georgia women. Is their B-team called Medusa, Minerva, or Toga Party? The A-team is Athena.
I feel like Toga Party.
Toga Party is exactly incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
You got me there.
Yeah, their B team is called Medusa. It's their third year as a program, and they're getting better. They're getting pretty stable. Okay, UCLA. UCLA, I know you can get. Blue, Bruin Ladies Ultimate, obviously,
yes.
is the A team name. Is their B team Baby Blue, Ruins, or Midas?
I'm going to go with Baby Blue. I think that's a shoo-in.
Isn't that such a great name?
Did you come up with that yourself?
I did. It's completely incorrect. They're called Midas,
shame.
and I don't completely understand why. But maybe we'll ask them.
We'll find out. There is a way for us to find out. I think what's important here is that while I am losing our B-team quizzes, I am winning our picks of the day.
You're crushing me in our picks of the day,
That is right.
Okay. We're going to get ready for our next round. It's coming up here in a couple of minutes. On the showcase field, we have Cal Poly Slow men versus Carleton, I believe.
Oh, are you heading over to that game?
I'm going to walk over there at first and then make my way back. It's a big field complex,
Sure
and so you
is.
can only spend about 4 points in any one game before you have to go somewhere else or you're going to miss something.
I'm excited for the Santa Cruz and Tufts game. Like I mentioned, I want to take a peek at Leah Schwartz, see how that pans out. And I'll float between that and UPenn and Vermont.
All right.
We'll see how it goes.
And also something we're going to keep track of, in the UCLA versus Georgia game, Quincy Booth is potentially going to set the all-time assists record, taking
so
over
exciting.
from Angela Zhu.
Wow, that's so exciting. What an accolade to achieve.
I mean, yeah, she's also, I think, we haven't tracked it officially, but we think she also already leads in turnovers, and she could end up leading in blocks by the time the weekend is over as well.
I mean, I'll take that triple-double.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Inside Out. We're getting ready. We just heard the scissor lift go up behind us. The teams are taking the line, and we are going to throw it over to Field Pass. Thanks for sticking with us. Make sure you stay with all the action here at Rockford.
We'll catch you next round.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ultiworld. Field Pass coverage continues as the fourth round of pool play unfolds here in Rockford. Ian Toner alongside Katie Killebrew, and here are the four matchups that we're starting with this round. Going clockwise from top left, UC Santa Cruz against Tufts. That's the 3-6 matchup in the Women's Pool C. UCLA, Georgia in the Women's Division top right. Pennsylvania, Vermont in the Women's Division bottom right. Of course, Vermont has already upset Washington Element. And then in the bottom left, Men's Division action. It's Western Washington against Pittsburgh. Here's a look at the women's pool standings. If you were keeping your eyes on the showcase stream, then you just saw Carleton Syzygy remain undefeated at the tournament and on the season. A 15-12 victory over Colorado Quandary. And plenty of other exciting action around the division. Katie Killebrew, what stands out to you as we transition to the men's pools as well?
Just the amount of upsets. We are maybe not, this is the beginning the fourth round of play, so a lot of teams are getting their second games, really getting their legs underneath them, and we're starting to see how the pools are shaping up. But really, we've been treated to some excellent upsets, and I'm excited to see what this round is going to bring. There is more upset city potential on this screen, and I'm especially excited for the UC Santa Cruz Tufts match as the top left, Leah Schwartz, pulls the disc for Tufts. And the wind is significantly picking up as well.
Western Washington with a grab in traffic at the bottom left corner of your screen. And there's a quick opening hold for Western Washington. That's Sims with the goal for Chaos.
And it looks like a break opportunity for Tufts. We saw Leah Schwartz pull the disc and now has it on the end zone line.
Oh, and through the hands of the intended receiver. Really a gift there for Santa Cruz. Apologies for misidentifying the Western Washington goal scorer. Sorry, Katie.
And UCLA Blue getting a break on Georgia to start their game. And UPenn Venus also scoring against Vermont. That Pool D with Penn and Vermont, Stanford and Washington to play later, is turning out to be maybe the pool of death in this, really earning that Pool D pool of death name.
So just take us through the dynamics from a high level there. Like, you know, who are the other, who are you most focused on in that pool?
I mean, I think the focus has to be on Washington because they're the 4 seed, the top seed in that pool, and they lost to Vermont.
The 5 seed. Washington's the 5 seed. Yeah.
Sorry, correct. Yes, They're the 5 seed in the tournament, the 2 seed in the pool. They lost to Vermont, who was the 4 seed. Really a dangerous.
The 16 seed overall, 4th in the pool.
Yeah, you know, numbers are hard to be specific at this point of the day, Ian. But the relative ranking of the teams in that pool is really difficult to ascertain because there hasn't been a lot of cross play between those 4 teams, 2 East Coast and 2 West Coast. And so seeing how they actually match up in Nationals has been exciting.
So Iwo breaks to start in the top left corner of your screen, and Pittsburgh responds with a hold of its own after Western Washington started. There's Micah Davis, who's actually torn his MCL for a second time, but is swearing that he's healthy enough to keep playing and is just going to PT his way through it. And he looked to be full speed on that point as Nick Kazmarek provides instruction to Nsabanur. So Pennsylvania already up 1-0 on Vermont, trying to break and double its lead. Giving and going, and there's the finish for Venus. That's Grace Maroon with the goal for Penn. And Western Washington's underneath flat swing catches a tuft of wind, giving Pittsburgh a break chance in your bottom left. Shooting deep right away. Oh, and that clap catch is dropped, giving the disc back to Western Washington.
Crazy pole rolling for UCLA. It rolled all the way horizontally across the field after it landed. And now Sabrina Belkin's going to bring it in off of the line.
Santa Cruz holds to tie that game up at 1 against Tufts. Again, Tufts broke to start that one, so keep an eye on that. Grace Maroon on the pull for UPenn after scoring the previous break goal.
That's inbounds in the UCLA game. Great awareness to keep that in bounds. UCLA is known for throwing their own zone, so they are really working very patiently against this Georgia Athena line that was giving trouble to some other teams earlier in the day. And as the wind picked up, it might turn into a game of zone, but UCLA scores that one cleanly. That dig with the feet inbounds over the blue line was excellent. And the score was caught by Casey Parks, one of my Rampage teammates this past club season.
Here's Santa Cruz trying to break and get this game back on serve against Tufts.
What a wild game Santa Cruz played in an earlier round against UC San Diego.
That was unreal. Surrendering an 8-1 run in the middle stanza and still finding a way to win. I believe it was 15-12 over San Diego.
Yeah, but they were down 11-7. And they came back to win.
They were
it.
up 6-3.
Wild
That
swings.
game was bananas.
Yeah.
And yes, pun intended. Short field here for Western Washington to get a break on Pittsburgh. I believe this would be a break.
Pennsylvania working it down the field patiently and then putting that one way up into the air. Though those passes were possible to complete earlier in the day, but I think with the wind picking up to the level it is now, those are going to be really difficult. We're going to see teams have to work it patiently against these ones because the wind is much stronger, and we're getting a look at the zone offense work from Vermont going the other way, and those are throws that are open, right? The player is open away from defenders.
You're right.
And so players are in the habit of throwing that because it is easy to complete on a day that's not like today, windy. And a lot of teams knew coming to nationals at this site, Rockford is going to be windy.
Vermont hucking into the wind. Not able to connect. Out of the timeout, Western Washington attacking again. In the green jerseys, and the Poche defense not accounting for the man just staying in the middle of the stack. And Western Washington with an early 3-1 advantage on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Georgia Athena, we just saw the replay of them scoring to tie it at 2s. And Vermont has yet to get on the board. They played that really amazing game against Washington earlier today, winning on Universe.
So, blue card for Western Washington in the bottom left of your screen. You're going to see the front of the stack clear out. That was a reverse zipper right there. Off the front. The two early cutters slashing to opposite sides, pulling the poach defenders out wide and opening the lane. I mean, I haven't seen a parting of the Red Sea like that since I was playing college.
I was going to say Western Washington got a blue card for the spike, and we've seen several of the what the observers would call excessive spiking, or that verticality of the disc that has the potential to bend it, being assessed as blue cards. Big layout from UPenn. New player coming in. Hopefully we see that player back after injury.
Tufts with a 3-1 lead, pulling once again.
I was going to say, yeah, they just broke against UC Santa Cruz. There are so many different zones happening, but UPenn scores again against Vermont, a break 3-0. Maya Mitchell with the disc for UCLA. Mitchell and Belkin, known for working well together, finding the hole. I love the point. Don't throw it to me, throw it there. Mitchell finds another play right on the outside and then follows it up. Almost in. Looks like the observer signals score from the opposite side. And UCLA holds. That's actually been a game of very, very... we haven't seen a break yet in that game is maybe a more concise way to say what I was going to say.
Nice grab for Santa Cruz as Seoul holds, and that's the celebration we've been seeing all day. Santa Cruz loving to pants their teammates.
Okay, but while we were watching that, in the bottom, there was a layout block from Pittsburgh. I believe it was number 12.
That's getting the disc back for the O-line after this group was broken on the previous point.
And it was a very impressive layout D. So
Micah Davis giving and going. He's in the red zone, and he's in the end zone. 2 goals already for Micah Davis.
I don't know what it's called when you get the D and then you throw the assist. It's not bookends, but it should be something.
Yeah.
Good.
Keep doing good.
Net good.
Keep doing good.
Yes. It looks like UC Santa Cruz taking a timeout to gather themselves.
And after Pennsylvania breaks again, Grace Maroon is still out on the field. Jackson Dolan just doubling down with his studs and keeping the Stars on the field.
Yeah, this is actually the second national team that Jackson Dolan has coached, as he was formerly a coach of UCLA. So both of the teams that he has had a hand in shaping at some point in their lineage on the screen right now. There he is walking away. Taking a big deep breath. I have felt that as a coach, especially in the wind. Athena with the disc. That's Georgia. Quincy Booth putting the disc deep. Really looking for the end zone, is chasing a assist record, either for a most assists at a Nationals or most assists at Nationals in a career. UCLA is going to get it back. Big huck going up for them. Jump ball, but Deed by Sarah Pickren. Oh, sorry. Yes, Sarah Pickren.
Western Washington scores to go up 4-2. And the bottom left.
And in the bottom right, Vermont finally on the board with a hold. Tufts has the disc with Santa Cruz. Really launching one deep, ambitious, landing out of bounds. You can see that orange cone, which is the back of the end zone field. The flags are the spectator line to keep, parents, fans, well-wishers behind so we can get a good view and the players are unobstructed.
UCLA breaks to go up 4-2, and Santa Cruz with the disc now, trying to tie the game at 3. There's Zane Bird-Smith. The swing. Thought it was going to Nora Tift, but back to Bird-Smith. Here's Tift. So just so you know, this wind figure on here does include gusts, so you get a sense of just how stiff the atmospheric challenge is for the collegiate throwers here in Rockford.
Stiff, but not impossible. Just affecting really the longer throws, and a lot of teams choosing to use the space defense of a zone to force throws to have to go wide before they go. But UPenn is really kind of marching past Vermont right now, swinging the disc and finding options really quickly.
So Pittsburgh's cutter was coming underneath when that throw went up. But Ezra Biedler-Schenk, one of the fantastic freshmen on this squad, able to adjust and take off and make up the ground to bring in the deep shot. We think he'd thrown the assist to Peter Kotz, but there's some discussion here with the observer.
Yeah, UPenn works the desk all the way down. Venus scores.
So, bottom left, look at this replay sequence. Back of the stack, Biedler-Schenk is coming under, and then he plants and makes up the ground, takes off, gets underneath the huck before it can hit the grass, and then Peter Kotz gets the goal for Pittsburgh. Whatever call was made was rescinded.
Tufts and Santa Cruz have not yet played this season. And so I think a lot of the beginning of this game is just them feeling each other out and trying to, see if the scouting report is accurate. Knowing what you want to do and then being faced with it on the day is really different as a...
Yeah, there's a drop there with really no pressure around, giving Tufts another short field.
This point where UCLA is trying to break again, really back and forth. But a turnover, Quincy Booth on the mark. Wind gets a hold of that one.
Vermont trying to attack in the bottom right, working against the UPenn zone. And Georgia scoring. UCLA maintaining a 4-3 lead in that one. Crossfield shot from Tufts. Oh, and what could have been a score off the hands of the adjusting receiver.
I think that I keep thinking that screen is on replay because Leo Schwartz has thrown that pretty similar throw over and over and over again. What an upwind huck.
Big rip from Zane Bird-Smith, too far for the intended receiver. That was Cassidy Miller trying to run that one out. And Pittsburgh has broken back. That matchup against Western Washington Dirt now tied at 4.
Yeah, but I think that Santa Cruz is going to start playing more of a possession game, more of a yardage game, because Tufts has not proved that they can score in this direction or complete anything more than 2 or 3 passes.
Yeah, what are the precursors that, when you're in a coaching capacity, lead you to say, hey, look, our strategy is just shifting to field position, huck and hope, pin the opponent as far away from as possible, and make them work at the length of the field?
Well, I think you can't do just one or the other. If you just commit to hucking, then the other team sits on the huck and you can't get it. But you have to figure out what is frustrating about the game. Is it the wind? Is it the inability to complete a pass? Is it a defensive schema from the other team that is, messing up your resets? And you want to give your team a chance to score. And sometimes that means hucking and hoping, because it gives you a chance. If you just try to, dink and dunk around and you're giving the other team a short field, then you don't get a chance to play defense either. So whether you lose that way or not, at least you got a chance to play defense.
A little too casual on that high release push pass. Western Washington turning it over, and Ezra Beadler-Shank picking up for Nsabanur. Micah Davis in power position. Julius Clyburn swinging over to Beadler-Shank. Steps into the backhand. This one's hanging a little bit. Grab made there. And Pittsburgh completes the break. That's the 3rd goal of this game for Micah Davis already. Oh, and the reset from Santa Cruz going awry, but it's saved by Nora Tift. And then another reset can't connect. Short field for Tufts. The marathon point comes to an end. 4-2 Ewo.
UCLA had turned it, giving Georgia a break opportunity, but they're getting it back and working it towards that near sideline. 2 defenders committing there. I believe that is intended for Belkin. I was complimenting jersey design earlier, but the UCLA yellow on blue is a little bit more difficult to read. If I'm being nitpicky, which I get to be. The cross-field wind for most of these games means that the angle selection on each throw starts to matter a lot. And if you show the bottom of the disc to the wind really at all, it's gonna turn over and get pushed significantly. But Belkin gets that one right into the end zone. Charlotte Kerr-Ohene, the receiver. Santa Cruz is really struggling against this Tufts zone. They're swinging it horizontally, but not able to make kind of inroads in the verticality of the field. And they haven't been patient enough to keep working it previous to this moment when I started talking about it. Oh, there goes the patience there. Forcing.
What a snag.
Yeah, that's Rachel Chang, and they're one of the throwers. But I think one of the things that Tufts has been doing is what we would call playing box and one on them. You're playing a zone defense, except for one person who is their best thrower, and you play person defense on them and try to get the disc out of their hands. In the case of Chang, normally in the backfield, but in that case, the receiver in the end zone, and you can see the other players on Seoul stepping up, and I believe that's Zane Bird-Smith giving the throw, and Chang coming down with the score. But this is an offensive possession for Georgia on the right side, trying to work into this end zone past the UCLA zone, and they do. Fun celebration from the Athena players. Kaiden Burks with the score.
And what a swing we've had in the Pittsburgh-Western Washington game. Western Washington was up by 2 multiple times early, and now Pittsburgh has swung the pendulum the other way for a 6-4 lead on dirt.
Tufts moving the disc on offense.
Oh, man. That's what happens when you throw into the teeth of this wind.
And that has to be such a clear example of the wind affecting a throw. From the trajectory it was released and then how it fluttered in the air. It's a good example of how much the wind can change the path of the disc.
And Mina Brown just taking a second to inhale, exhale. Yeah, laugh about it a little bit.
I do like the counter punch there from UC Santa Cruz to immediately go for the goal. It was a little bit far, but potentially catchable, and forcing Tufts back yardage. Like I said, they are really good at connecting, and they've scored when they have had a short field. But Santa Cruz is doing a better job of limiting those short field opportunities. D by and Sabanur in the bottom part of the screen.
Zane Bird-Smith was out of bounds on that one. So Tufts gets the disc back. Schwartz sending a prayer. Caught. That's Annabelle White resetting. Tufts in the red zone now. Schwartz again. Flip into the end zone. No calls there. That is a goal for Cotton.
Yeah, and a hold for Tufts. Santa Cruz has had a couple of break opportunities that they haven't been able to convert on. And, you know, in a game with a lot of turns, sometimes you kind of have to chalk that up. Not all of them are actually break opportunities, but UC Santa Cruz was very close to the end zone on that point in particular.
So if you're just joining us, this is round 4 of day 1 of the 2026 USA Ultimate D1 College Championships. Ian Toner here with Katie Killebrew, live on Ultiworld. We've been bringing you 4+ games per round here on Field Pass. And that says nothing of our broadcasts on the showcase field, as UCLA scores once more to go up 6-4 on Georgia.
Yeah, Maya Mitchell there with the score. One of the handlers pushing up. I was going to say that UCLA does such a good job of being like a faceless army of people who are ready to catch the disc. A lot of times they're going to put a disc up and the intended receiver doesn't get it, like this one goes over, and then you just have another cutter who's aware in that space to go get it, and then Mitchell with the score.
So Ezra Beadler-Shank in the bottom left was trying to connect with Reed Duncan. The Western Washington defender believes he got the block cleanly. Duncan disagrees.
And here's another look at it.
Here's Beadler-Shank faking once, and then Duncan attacks the space. No question he got a finger on the disc, but was there enough contact on the shoulder, the side body, that interrupted that? The defender there, Thomas Sims, 23-year-old from Langley, Washington.
As they figure that out, a replay of the second Vermont score. Finally getting it. They've really struggled against this UPenn zone. And looks like UC Santa Cruz. Kaya Guerrero scoring. Top right. It looks like the observers are treating it as a foul contest.
Yeah, no clear arbitration. So Duncan and Sims right there, and disc back in the hands of the freshman phenom Ezra Beadler-Shank. Bouncing off the line, another swing. Julius Clyburn calls a timeout.
There you go. Well, if you're going to call a timeout, in the middle of the field is usually better than stuck on the sideline in the wind.
So Ensaba Nur back at Nationals after missing the college championships last season. They had lost previously to Penn State at regionals. And I'm sure that was a shock to the system, a shock to the program. And so many alums have been instrumental in helping that group get back here. Jonah Wish has been as active as ever in the team Slack or Discord chats, helping with workouts and strength programming and feedback. Trent Dillon has come to town and talked to the team as a whole and checked back in with some players. Marcel Oliart has helped too. As we get a look at Georgia scoring against UCLA.
That was fancy footwork and hard to tell because it almost looked like the back foot was in, caught the disc, and then the second foot landed out of bounds. So really great awareness from Georgia.
Top left, Tufts working the disc. Mina Brown up line. Stall count rising. Tufts gets out of a jam.
And Vermont gets a break. They finally work their way through figuring out that offensive schema to work against the zone, and they go back to back. They still have a bit of a hill to climb to get back against Pennsylvania. Tufts score, hold, And Georgia about to pull. UCLA up a break. There's another look in the bottom right at the Vermont offense. I think that was Ella Monaghan, Seattle is her nickname, with the assist. In between.
What a window there in the bottom left. Ezra Biedler-Schenk had no margin for error, and he stepped out to throw the fastball to Reed Duncan. And En Sabanur, once down, I believe it was 4-2. They've since gone on a 5-0 run to start to assert control here in the first half. Tough scores. So we look at that replay. 6-4 for Iwo.
UCLA forces a turn on a high stall. This would be a break opportunity for UCLA. Really good patience. But turning it close to the end zone line.
And Western Washington stops the bleeding. Finally gets a hold, and Dirt trails En Sabanur 7-5.
Injury called by the Georgia receiver. On the reception, no contact on that. And Tufts break going the other direction against UC Santa Cruz. I feel like the body language in that shot kind of says everything about you need to know about what's going on on the sideline of that game. And Georgia go the other direction. Hold.
Yeah, that could have been 7-5 UCLA. Instead, we're tied up at 6.
That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes, Ian. Especially in these games. I think we all have shoulda, woulda, couldas about how a point went or a possession or something else. But at the end of the day, what we see. And I could actually be wrong. I think Georgia may have been a break for Georgia. Quincy Booth on the field usually means it's offense, but
we'll get one more look at the finishing sequence there. Booth with the disc, and Johnson with the goal for Athena.
Vermont with the disc. Huck goes up for Monaghan.
Oh, what a snag there by Grace Maroon. Just yoinking that one over Ella Monaghan.
Sorry, Monaghan.
So with that assist that we just showed you, Quincy Booth connecting with Johnson just became the career assist leader in the women's division at the college D1 championships. Passing Angela Zhu, the former Dartmouth great and national champion. Booth now with 101 assists at the D1 college championships.
That's such a wild number.
That's a video game number, right?
Yeah, and we're only in the second round of play, right? at least 2 more days of tournament. UPenn trying to get the disc in the end zone against this flat mark from Vermont. And who throws it but Grace Maroon? The cleat came off there a little bit, but it's still a score. Abigail Smith, the receiver. Okay. In the top left is a replay of the UC Santa Cruz hold.
Zane Bird-Smith throwing the assist there. And in the bottom left, Micah Davis to Ezra Biedler-Shank. And Pittsburgh, after going down early, takes half 8-5 on Western Washington dirt.
UCLA working really patiently against the wide, flat zone from Georgia Athena. And the second level of defense also doing a really good job of getting in the way of the next option. So the swing happens, but then there's no receiver upfield open to actually connect to until then.
UCLA with patient offense, swinging the disc horizontally, and Blue now with a 7-6 lead on Athena.
Yeah, Zoe Saxer, the receiver, finally providing an outlet for that zone.
Vermont trying to find its way back in this one, and there's a drop. UPenn picking up and hucking right away, and that works. And Venus has taken half, 8-3 on Ruckus. I mean, if things hold, there's still some results that have to play out, but tomorrow afternoon, one of our showcase broadcasts is scheduled to be Pennsylvania Venus, who looks like they're going to beat Vermont, against Washington Element, who lost to Vermont. And that could be for Venus to maintain second in the pool, potentially jump to first, depending on other results against Stanford.
Tufts with the disc to take it to half in the top left, working against a Santa Cruz zone, trying to limit the space, and the zone collapses, intended for Leah Schwartz, but giving Santa Cruz a little bit shorter of a field, a boon for Seoul.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself. Stanford and Washington, the tournament 4-5 matchup there in Pool D. That's actually happening at 5 o'clock on our showcase stream. So don't forget that one's coming up before.
I won't, because I get to call that game, and I am really excited to see what's going to happen. It's been a really fun day of Ultimate here at Club Championships.
College championships.
That's what I mean.
2016,
I keep saying nationals, and it's actually championships because we have several Canadian teams as opposed to just USA nationals. So it's college championships, but then I got ahead of myself and added club in there. You know how it goes some days. Georgia trying to work against the UCLA zone. Quincy Booth with the disc. Has receivers waving in the back of the end zone, but takes the flip to the other handler coming through the cup. That is a long 10 seconds. And awareness from UCLA gives them the turn. Belkin with the disc there. Big throw going up.
Are you kidding me? Did that work for Tufts, or was the receiver out of bounds? That was an incomplete pass.
Yeah, the observer, I think, ruling out of bounds, signaling that point towards the back, saying it was out. That's why we paint the lines at Nationals.
What an effort there from Annabelle White to run that one down. Well, I mean, yes, we paint the lines, but if we're being honest, it's incredibly hard to see those faint blue lines on this green grass.
It is easier in person than on the camera, for sure. But the huck from UCLA does not connect, and Georgia Athena, as a big gust of wind hits our booth.
Oh, a point block from Annabelle White, getting the disc back for Ewo, and a chance for Schwartz to give Tufts an 8-5 lead and take half.
Yeah, and Santa Cruz is now setting a zone on the turn.
Tufts trying to mack it back in play.
Yeah.
That didn't quite work.
No, but the tactical changes from the coaching staff, you're seeing them try to limit especially the throwing prowess of Leah Schwartz. Turnover from Rachel Chang.
That's just a gift.
Can't disagree with your assessment there, Ian.
Seen a lot of those in the wind today. Chang not the only one to serve it up on the platter for an opponent. And did Schwartz just hop in? She did. Tufts takes half, 8-5 on Santa Cruz. We know this Santa Cruz team is capable of a big second half comeback, but Tufts is a different opponent. And a lot of momentum right now for Ewo.
There's a stall called.
So, how about this rip from the Tufts thrower? That was Kate Gearing. Annabelle White chasing it down. That is athleticism at its finest. Unfortunately, Annabelle was not in bounds. Yeah, and then Annabelle gets the point block, swatting the disc to the turf, and an easy flip to Schwartz.
Yeah, I was going to say you can see the footstep clearly over the line before the reception happens, and then there's a long conversation about the stall call in the UCLA Georgia game.
So UCLA up 7-6. Tufts has taken half 8-5. Pittsburgh also with the halftime advantage over Western Washington. We'll be back in a minute. Keep it right here on Ultiworld. More live field pass coming your way.
The best of College Ultimate is here, but this summer the game goes global. From the rising stars of World Junior Ultimate Championships to the seasoned battles of the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships to the biggest stage in Club Ultimate, the World Ultimate Club Championships. Watch the best of the best represent their countries, their clubs, and the future of the sport. Watch it all unfold live exclusively on Ultiworld.
Get the ultimate news you need to know with the Deep Look podcast. I'm Charlie Eisenhood.
And I'm Keith Rayner. And together we bring the games, names, and moments in Ultimate to your podcast feed. We talk Ultimate's biggest news from on and off the field about and with the people making it.
And every week we go live on YouTube. Come join the fun, the trivia, the picks, the analysis, and more Tuesdays at noon Eastern Time.
We'll see you there.
Welcome back to Rockford, Illinois. 2026 College Nationals continuing here live on Ultiworld. We've got 4 games this round on Field Pass. On the left side of your screen, Reed Duncan, one of the Ensaba Nur captains, running out that deep shot to start the scoring in the second half against Western Washington. And Georgia trying to stave off halftime here. UCLA with a 7-6 lead on Athena. Western Washington shooting same third, a little too far. And the other matchups for you in this one, Tufts Ewo has taken half on Santa Cruz Sol. And Pennsylvania Venus took half 8-3 on Vermont Ruckus. So, foul called by Pittsburgh. The Western Washington receiver immediately going to the observer. I believe that's Cedar Hines and Friedman. Leo Friedman having a discussion. The call is retracted, and it's a goal for Western Washington. The 20-year-old Cedar Hines from Seattle with the score for Dirt.
That was athletic. Like a timeout being taken by Georgia or UCLA. I didn't see who actually called it, as we are 1 point
here's another
from
look.
half.
The throw off the line and right into Callahan country.
The point at the observer, I feel like, isn't one I have seen very often, but effective in this case.
I mean, there's no doubt there was contact, and Friedman did get a little bit rocked, but some of that was incidental. They were both going to the same space at the same time.
Yeah, there was a couple cameras there. I think they may have gotten a pretty good view of that one.
So whoever scores here between UCLA and Georgia will take half. Quincy Booth on the mark after setting the record for most assists at the college championships in a career. Throw down the line. What a shot there. That was UCLA's Sabrina Belkin with the visionary throw, but a turnover for Blue, giving Georgia the disc.
I was going to say, I really like the Belkin-Booth matchup that's happening. The two, star handlers and assist leaders for their teams.
So Pittsburgh has turned it over again, giving Cedar Hines and Western Washington a chance to break once more as Georgia scores to take half, 8-7, the lower seed, with the advantage going into the break.
I'd have to look at the replay to confirm, but pretty sure that's another assist for Quincy Booth.
Pretty safe bet based on what we've seen so far and what she's done in her career.
Yeah, lefty flick floats perfectly into space, running from the far side. UCLA had broken that zone, but the pop up of the disc turned it over and, treated us to one of those. That was a very swimming-esque dive.
Yeah, you could tell Micah Davis was trying to make a play on it from inbounds so that Western Washington would have to take the disc there, in addition to wanting to actually catch it, but it's pretty far beyond his reach, and instead the disc goes up to the point where it crossed the boundary, so Cedar Hines has the disc at midfield.
Yeah, that's big brain ultimate right there.
Hines going every other here, throwing back across the green, and the risky look results in a turnover. Kotz shooting deep. What a snag there for Nsabanur. The grab made on that play by Thomas Mazer.
That's why you run sprints, folks.
What a grab there from Rachel Chang.
I think that was actually Kai Agueros. Kai is actually a player I coached at USC before she transferred to Santa Cruz, and really making a name on the national stage.
I thought for a second we were going to get another pantsing there, because that's been the story of the day with the Santa Cruz celebrations, but they kept it PG there.
What a run. Yeah, this is another look at that sky and score.
I mean, Zane Bird-Smith didn't have much. Stall count was rising. Agueros already just kind of standing in the deep space, being fronted by Schwartz. Not a clear cut to the end zone, but hey, it worked out.
Yeah, Santa Cruz Soul also plays their best when they're making each other look good with these big plays, and that's something that they haven't really been able to do as much as they want in this win against Tufts, but they're going to have to, start showing off, showing out, showing what that Soul life is all about. Ooh.
Western Washington throws one into the dirt. Julius Clyburn torques the backhand, not on the same page with his receiver.
If we'd gotten 2 back-to-back points, that would have been glorious. But didn't keep the run.
Schwartz comes through the zone, tries to huck past it. Deep defender is there, and the disc sails out the back. Power position for Dirt. Mason Herndon gets the reset off, and Cedar Hines is frustrated by the contact there from Ryan Dowdy.
It's like a foul, no contest. I guess the question is, what else is going on in that discussion? Yeah.
So the blue card being issued to Dowdy. We can't hear the observers, but I'm assuming for physicality or perhaps a dangerous bid there.
Yeah, I would say I've noticed a habit of some of the Pittsburgh defenders of putting a hand out and frequently touching the offensive player that they're guarding, and whether or not that is affecting their throw, but it is really flirting with the edge of the rules, the touching.
Nice grab there for Tufts, working through the zone. Western Washington trying to march up. That disc was bobbled for a second. I'm not clear if anyone actually made a down call. Elijah Diamond is saying that he kept it up the whole time.
I saw the observer point down to the ground earlier.
There you go. The observer rules it was down.
Floating significantly out of bound. We're getting another look at this bobble. I think bounces off. He kept it up for the majority, but bounces off his face in the ground and back up into his face again.
Declan Murphy up, and here's a huck for Ensabanur. This one's hanging. Crowd comes under. Looked like Clyburn was initially going to call a foul and then said, nope, not happening. So Cedar Hines will pick up for Dirt. Annabelle White can't catch that one for Tufts. Santa Cruz picking up. Here's Golston. Huck in the Western Washington matchup, looking for Cedar Hines. Yard outside the end zone. One fake, one throw, and the score. Dirt back within 4.
UCLA and Georgia are just about to come out of half, and Santa Cruz has been patiently working up towards this end zone line, and it's Chang to Agueros for the score. And given the previous point differential, I have to believe that that's a break for UC Santa Cruz to bring it back within 1. Unless it's coming out of half. I think that's the difficult part about all of these games moving around. It's hard to track about what is a break or not, but the point margin here is closing. Shorter pull for UCLA, giving Georgia the disc around half field. This is and then a replay is also happening in the top left of the score. Chang finding Agueros.
Just kind of lulling the defender to sleep.
It's so annoying to guard people who are running in a literal circle to reorient, and in that case really paying off for Solt.
UCLA picking up on the blue goal line. Stall count rising, so here comes the punt. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that worked. 2 throws and UCLA has the score to tie it at 8.
Oh, what a run from Maya to get that. And a break for UCLA out of half. It's a really close game between those two teams. UCLA is a team that quote-unquote stole a bid in that they were not one of the bid earners in the Southwest, but they finished the tournament, and with plays like that, that's one of their lead handler who's making that cut from the handler space as that bailout, and then puts it crosswind right to another receiver. You know, they are proving that they are hanging with all of these other teams at Nationals as we see a Pittsburgh score.
That's Peter Kotz to Reed Duncan. So, and Sabanur up by 4 once again. And Santa Cruz pulling to Tufts. Iwo centering, no surprise, to Schwartz. Deep shot going up. Incomplete.
And a break chance for Santa Cruz.
Tufts quickly setting the zone. Bird Smith trying to huck over it. That thing's going to sail far out of bounds.
Another stratosphere. Georgia now having to go the opposite wind direction. Still trying to get a hold out of half.
Quincy Booth, quarterbacking, faking. I didn't see any room there, but clearly she did. And Georgia scores to lead 9-8.
Another big huck coming towards the Tufts receivers.
Oh, Annabelle White putting on a clinic. The finishing flip to her teammate, and unfortunately, that looks like an injury for Mina Brown, who's in a lot of pain after scoring for EWO.
The grab of the foot and pulling the toe back towards the body does lead me to believe that might be a cramp situation. And we hope that whatever it is, that they are able to come back and play soon.
What a read and box out there by Annabelle White. Western Washington scores to come back within 3. Cedar Hines going to take this point off for Dirt after throwing the assist. It's the question for players like Hines and the coaching staff. How much do you want to put your foot on the pedal in terms of your own playing time? Is this the game to empty the tank? As I guess I misspoke, because Hines is back out there for this upcoming point. Western Washington so far in this tournament, (0-1), a 15-10 loss to UMass in the round that started at 10:30 local this morning. Here's a huck for Pitt, defended by Elijah Diamond. Good composure to find Hines. Back to Diamond. Big field switch for Dirt. Off the line, back to Hines once again. And that blade not connecting and giving the Pittsburgh O-line a second chance.
Santa Cruz had been working it really well in the top left, but a little bit of
and Beadler's shank drops the give and go reset. Another break chance on this point for Dirt.
Tufts also on a break chance. And Georgia converting their own. Break train.
Western Washington marching up here. Can Dirt cut the gap to 2? Hines He's been doing everything for this team, and he connects with Diamond. That's a big break that took some lungs and legs out of the Pittsburgh O-line.
But as the 4 seed in their pool, Western Washington, if they're going to try to make pre-quarters, they have to go through Pittsburgh. They already played the 5 seed. Maybe you don't believe that you're going to get the win against UNC. So if you're going to sell out and do all of the work to try to do that, you got to do it here. It's this game to try to make the bracket. Santa Cruz scores. Making it look easy, but they really have explored every inch of that field. It feels like every point they're like, well, once we have visited this side and the other side and this end zone and the other end zone, then one team can score. But as we're getting, closer towards the end, these games are being played to 15. There are less than 20 minutes left until we hit cap. And my guess is with the speed of some of these points, we're going to get into a situation where the soft cap is going to change the total points that these teams are playing to.
Western Washington's pull sails out of bounds.
As you have 20 seconds to get the disc back to the brick mark, the spectator there really doing them a favor in returning that disc upwind.
Beadler-Shank faking for the Pitt offense. Tough reset there to Micah Davis. Peter Kotz inside. Too far for Micah Davis. Western Washington can keep this break train going. Cedar Hines finds Elijah Diamond. He steps into a flick. This one's hanging. It's right in front of our perch, and it's caught! Mason Herndon with another break for dirt. Don't look now. They're back within one.
Georgia also earn an opportunity for another break. Off the back of their zone, a call has stopped play in the Santa Cruz game, but another look in the bottom at this play.
What a huck there from Elijah Diamond. Probably hung a touch more than he wanted, but we've seen huckers in both directions have difficulty calibrating in the wind, making sure things don't sail out the back, making sure things actually make it far enough, and enough juice and float on that one for Herndon to make a play underneath as a timeout is taken by Pittsburgh.
Santa Cruz trying to work up. This would be a break for them. Several turns apiece between UCLA and Georgia. And Santa Cruz does it. They go up and over the top. I think that's Cassidy Miller with the catch.
So Sol with a 3-1 run to start the second half. We know this team is capable of it. They can surrender the swings and they can counterpunch. And we're all tied up at 9s as Santa Cruz looks to hold seed, so to speak, against the 2 seed in women's Pool C, Tufts Will.
Is that fun for them? Because it's given me a little bit of a heart attack every time they come from behind like this.
I don't blame you. I mean, obviously, here in the booth, we have no rooting interest whatsoever, but pretty cool to have our Ultiworld crew flexing in the Texas-Utah matchup in the men's division. Tough up 11-6 on Utah. That's Will Selfridge trying to throw the assist, and yeah, that's who he meant to throw it to. And Zion Curtin scores. Tough now up 11-7. Of course, Texas probably still licking its wounds a bit from that double game point loss to Georgia Tech Tribe. The unbelievable layout interception from Sam Grossberg with the game on the line.
Really exciting stuff, but to lose a game, to lose a game like that, as we see Santa Cruz go the other direction, that's 2 breaks in a row, putting them
what is happening
up in this game. But I was just going to say these different I keep getting distracted by the scores every time they pants each other. It's hilarious and also so distracting. Okay, but to lose a universe point game that you didn't expect maybe to lose, and then come back and face a team like Utah, who for the first half really were giving Oregon trouble earlier this morning. They are a team that continues to punt, continues to keep fighting, and they're a very physical defensive team. It can be very rattling for a team, and you know, Texas holding strong for now, but this game is really going to have implications for the pool and who actually gets that, you know, P3 pre-quarter spot.
Quick check-in on Ego, the tournament 1 seed and sitting atop Pool A at 2-0. You mentioned the challenges earlier against Utah. That was a 15-11 final in Ego's favor. And 2 rounds later, Ego beat Santa Cruz 15-9. And now Texas, as we mentioned, trying to rebound after losing 13-12 to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and Georgia scores.
There's a block for
again.
Utah. See if Zion Curtin can do anything here. Wasting no time trying to counterattack. And a replay at Santa Cruz scoring to go up 11-9. However, we did have a foul call from the EWO defender. You saw the replay in the bottom left there. Another goal for Elijah Diamond. So Western Washington still within 1 against Pittsburgh and Sabanur. And in your bottom right, Utah Zion Curtin converts the break.
Here's another look in the top left at this play that had a foul called. I see so little contact.
Well, I mean, there was contact, but I think that was kind of incidental stuff, and the observer agrees, no foul. That's the Callahan nominee. I beg your pardon. One of the standouts for Santa Cruz. The Santa Cruz Callahan nominee, Goodness Wakudu, is one of the Callahan finalists in the women's division.
Yeah, I believe the score there was caught by Viola Desley, the one of the captains of the team. And is one of the players who's actually seen the program grow from struggling to make regionals freshman year to being here, seeded 3rd in the national tournament. A really remarkable journey for this UC Santa Cruz side.
Micah Davis is going to take an injury after throwing his body through the air to try and make a play on that huck that was intended for him, but there were 2 defenders in the area. So Western Washington with the chance to march this disc the length of the field and tie the game at 12. Julius Clyburn coming on for the injured Davis. We get a replay at that beautiful shot to the end zone for UCLA in your top right.
Yeah, it was another throw by Belkin that had a player calling stall, but that one overruled by the observers, and so the score stood. So
again, a reminder, as Tufts turns the disc over once again, this was 8-6 Tufts at half. This has been a 5-1 run for Santa Cruz Sol here in the second half. Pittsburgh has the disc back. Kotz faking. Biedler-Schenk initiates off the front, slashes back across. There's Reed Duncan scoring for Pittsburgh, and at the top left, another break for Santa Cruz. That is a 6-1 run to start the second half.
And they're just moving the disc back and forth, finding players, but I don't think that was the intended receiver. But Golston there bailing out Chang and cementing that score. Under 8 minutes now until we hit cap. UCLA scored, and this is going to be a break opportunity for them, but a long distance to go. And I believe this is a break opportunity for Utah.
You're right, because the last goal we saw was Utah scoring its 8th goal, and Texas hasn't scored. Zion Curtin in the red zone. That one's floating. Somehow it works, and somehow the second one works too. Zion Curtin back within 2.
That series of events felt so illogical. It's so windy, and they're like, I'll float it up and get it on the second chance. Maybe that was hard for me to catch. No, I will throw the exact same thing again.
Well, Cedar Hines called that Pittsburgh swing down.
And here's another look at the score where they, in the bottom right, where they float it up and just do the same thing again. I guess if it works, do it? Question mark.
Turns out that Reed Duncan did get his hands under that one before the disc hit the grass, so Nsabanur maintains possession.
Quick
but
turn.
UCLA turns it over in the top right. And timeout taken by Pittsburgh in the bottom left. This is a break chance for Nsabanur.
And Johnson gets another score for Georgia Athena. Quincy Booth another assist, but has really exacting cutting from her receivers, especially in the end zone, which makes it look easy. But a receiver getting that open takes effort.
Nice grab there by Brown. Great to see her competing once again after the injury on the goal a few points ago.
Yeah, we talked about big brain ultimate, and that disc looked like it was going out of bounds, and the Georgia player hit it out of bounds, but that means that the disc comes in way over here as opposed to where it went out of bounds, about 30 yards away. Okay, well, since we tuned into the Texas game in the bottom, Texas hasn't scored. It's been all breaks by Utah.
Yeah, it was 11-6 when we first joined, and Now it's 11-9, and Pittsburgh, Texas is pinned on its back line.
What a roll of that pull!
You have to focus on your pull fielding, as there's a punt from Aaron Barcio. He had no choice. Stall count rising, had to get the disc as far away from his goal line as possible, and Utah can break to make this a one-goal game. Unfortunately for the Zion Curtin fans, that disc is going right back to Texas. Barcio looking to the end zone, connecting with his receiver, and Texas stops the bleeding. Tough up 12-9 on Utah.
That was another huck from UC Santa Cruz that was almost completed. The offense from Tufts is really struggling as Georgia on the right side gets a score and a break.
So we see a yellow card being issued to the Western Washington defender for kind of running through and taking out Reed Duncan to get the disc. I believe that's Graham Peck who's gotten the yellow card. Not the first yellow we've seen issued today. So Duncan is going to have the disc with Julius Clyburn open there. Peck still not loving this.
Tufts finally scores, but they're down 2.5 minutes till we hit soft cap. Soft cap means that, if we haven't gotten close to the 15 at the point that the horn blows, we will add the point finishes, and we will add 1 to the highest team's total, and we are now playing to that score, which sounds very complicated, but is mostly just time's almost out. 1 more point.
So Pittsburgh leads 14-11 against Western Washington. Duncan, after the play resumed, a cheeky offhand backhand, and Julius Clyburn just letting him know after he finished that point. Texas surrendering a few in a row and then stopping the bleeding, and now with a chance to score a second consecutive goal, but a collision there between, I believe that was Aaron Barcio and a Zion Curtin defender.
Georgia's zone is really stymieing UCLA when they get trapped on the sideline. They have nowhere else to go. They're forced to punt it. If they get the punt, they're kind of scoring, but otherwise it's back in Georgia's hands.
Brave pull catch there by Cedar Hines, but this throw is hanging. Fortunately, his teammate makes the grab. Would have been the second Callahan we've seen in that end zone this game, as Dirt tries to attack, and we've already seen a blue card in this game for Pittsburgh's physicality. And Max Cowie, the defender on the mark, prompting a conversation with the observers.
The adjustment that Georgia has made yielded them another break.
So this is another yellow for, we've seen at least 2 in this game. 1 going to Graham Peck from Western Washington. 1 going to Max Cowie for Pittsburgh. We've seen blue cards as well.
And players are going to want to pay attention to that because they are cumulative, the personal
and
cards.
Peck doinks the inside laser. If Pittsburgh scores here, it's curtains. Clyburn swinging to Brendan Gasper. Travel called. Lucius Christie now overthrows Clyburn, and Dirt has new life on this point. Hines walks it up. Elijah Diamond thought about the rip, resets, and Hines throws that one into the gusting wind.
You could have honestly been talking about the UC Santa Cruz game as well, with just different names. It was remarkably similar timing. The adjustment on the top right of Georgia, their zone to trap the 4-person cup on UCLA gives them another turn, and this will be for game.
There's the game winner as Pittsburgh breaks. Brendan Gasper going to grass to bring that one in. So, and Sabanur with the 15-11 win over Western Washington Dirt. A valiant effort from that side. And Santa Cruz scores against Tufts to go up 13-10. And in the bottom right corner, Texas scores to go up 13-9 against Utah. UCLA has to hold here, otherwise Georgia wins and finishes the upset.
Yeah, and when Sabanur was winning, Georgia had a bid in the end zone, hit hands and out for the game winner, giving UCLA back the disc. But it's certainly a tall order with the clock dwindling down. Although I don't think I've seen Quincy Booth get off the field in this second half.
And there's a throw into the grass from UCLA. Santa Cruz up 13-10 with soft cap on. So it's got to be a game to 14. Leah Schwartz upfield. Santa Cruz gets the block. Vesely takes the timeout with Santa Cruz up 13-10 in what we believe is a game to 14. And Texas will pick up the disc once again against Utah.
The defense is really pushing Texas backwards. And Georgia, Athena wait for the confirmation from the observers that the score was in, and they come back to beat UCLA. UCLA had been up in that game, but the tactical change on the zone, Quincy Booth staying on the field, that is an upset. Here's another look at the score. Texas also scoring.
And that should be game for Tough. Should be a 14-9 victory for Texas, fending off a late push from Utah. So Georgia beats UCLA In the women's division, Pittsburgh beats Western Washington in the men's division. UPenn has beaten Vermont 15-9 in the women's division.
Well, Tufts
Texas beats Utah 14-9, and Santa Cruz Tufts. The only game still live here on Field Pass at the moment. Shot to the end zone for Tufts. There's a score.
But this must be a game to 14. So the hold from Santa Cruz would get them the win.
Correct. Cotton with the goal for Tufts.
You know, it's been interesting watching Tufts this season because they just haven't necessarily, like, they've been really good, but not necessarily trustworthy good. Not always good. And they were up in this game, but you see Santa Cruz, I feel like I blinked and it changed from Santa Cruz being down to Santa Cruz being up huge.
Pennsylvania taking care of business against Vermont. Here's the game-winning score as Venus finishes off Ruckus. And Pennsylvania 2-0 on the day.
Leah Schwartz crossing over to this D-line squad.
Disc gets centered to Chang. Looking deep. A little too much wind challenging that flick release to the deep space.
But the roll is meaning that disc is going to basically come back in at the cone. The roll gave them an extra 40 yards and a really difficult position for Tufts to start from. Just marching it up the open side so far.
Here's Annabelle White. How much juice does Iwo have left? Schwartz with a touch now. Schwartz looking inside, floats over the intended receiver. Well defended by the Santa Cruz defender, and then this one goes for a ride, and it's still caught.
Yeah, I believe that was Nwakadu with the block.
Oh, and Schwartz got her hand in the cookie jar just a split second too soon, or so the Santa Cruz thrower thinks.
For my money, that was a foul. When you see a disc tumbling over like you're flipping a coin, that usually means 2 points of contact were on the disc at the same time, meaning it was still in the person's hand. Here's another look at.
So, great catch there by Lehrer. And then Schwartz on the mark, orbiting, adapting, understanding where. Oh, I don't know. Disc staying with Lehrer. The same sequence playing out, but Lehrer gets the reset off.
Limping off is Mina Brown, I believe.
Yeah, we saw Brown take an injury earlier in this game after scoring the goal in this near end zone. Again, if Santa Cruz holds here, we believe with the soft cap that this game will be over. Desalee. Underneath throw, doinked, and she catches it! Oh man, that's why you never give up on a play. Chang, quarterbacking, looking for it all. Could this be the game winner? There it Santa Cruz Soul down 8-6 at half. Comes back and goes on an 8-3 run to hold seed in the pool against Tufts.
McKenna Johnson there with the game-winning catch and the celebration for Seoul.
What focus here from Dessely. Never given up. Multiple hands on that one. Doinked by the original receiver. And then Chang quarterbacking. I'm not sure that was the intended receiver either, but hey, it worked for Santa Cruz. And Seoul celebrating with another pantsing.
It's always something at Nationals that like all the team send to glom onto, and I guess that's what's happening here in 2026. But more to talk on that is our Inside Out show. It's been great talking with you on Field Pass.
Thanks for joining us. For Katie Killebrew, I'm Ian Toner. Edward, Anna, take it away.
Wow, another brilliant round at the 2026 USA Ultimate College Championships. I'm Edward Stevens here with Anna Thorn on Inside Out, and we have yet another special guest. We've had Will Selfridge, we've had Legan the Stallion, and now we have Georgia Athena player Quincy Booth. Quincy, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you for having me, Edward. I'm happy to be here.
Athena just got a huge win over UCLA. Congratulations, first of all, to you and the team on that. Tell us a little bit about the mentality. It was tight at half.
It was tight. We knew going into it that it was a game that we really needed to win, and we had watched a ton of their film. We knew that we had a matchup that we liked. And, we're really looking to get into the bracket this year. It'll be my first time going into the bracket if we can beat UVic, hopefully, or Colorado. Shout out Fiona Cashin, we're coming for you. But yeah, we knew that this was the first step into a run that we really, really want to make this year. So, yeah, we just dialed in. Going into half, we knew that we needed to turn up the intensity a little bit and dial in on our throws, so a little less turns on the second half there.
All right, speaking of throws, it wasn't just the UCLA win that got you on here. It's the fact that we should have made her a crown.
We should have made you a crown.
We should have made you a crown.
It's
in the car.
Quincy Booth,
It's
everybody, is your new career assist leader. We've been crunching the stats. Quincy Booth has surpassed Angela Zhu for the career assist leader in all college nationals history. Any division, it's up over 100. I actually don't have the full tally. Quincy.
How does it feel?
Yeah.
It feels great. It feels really awesome. I mean, I'm super privileged to be able to play all 4 years without injury, and that my team lets me play just so much, like has such a high volume of playing a lot of points, so it's kind of a given that I'm going to assist a lot. So, yes, I'm super excited.
There's Quincy's crown.
I was able to get the title. It's definitely something that I've been working towards and that I've had my eye on for a couple years, so... and my team is now bombarding me in the back.
They're proud of you.
They're very proud, and I couldn't do it without them. Shout out everyone who's caught all of my really bad throws.
Yeah, give us 5 of your favorite receivers over the year.
5 of my favorite receivers over the year. I have to give my shout out to Fiona Cashin. I mean, I would be nowhere without her. She's my mentor. If you saw my Callahan video, she got a shout out. And after that, I cannot pick because my entire team is standing in front of me as we speak.
Diplomatic answer.
But yes.
All right. Oh, go ahead, Anna.
You have surpassed Angela Zhu by 6 assists and will continue counting. How many do you think you'll throw by the end of the weekend?
I have no idea. Hopefully I can get I don't know, I usually average about 30 or so. So
yeah, casual
I don't know what
30.
I'm at. I think I maybe 15 more if we're on the right track.
15 more.
We'll
love
see how
it.
it goes tomorrow, but I don't know.
That's
all right.
Awesome. We're
Quincy,
excited for you.
Another really important record that we are pretty sure you've surpassed is the career turnovers at Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
We love it.
Yes. I would be nowhere without my turnovers. I'm best known for it.
Some may say that the good ideas come from the bad ideas.
I 100% agree. The best catches come from the worst throws. So I'm really just out here trying to make my team look great. with all their layouts, and I know that they can catch most of them. And the ones that they don't, who's to say whose fault it is?
And lastly, a word of advice for any youngsters coming up behind you who want to challenge the record.
My advice is shooters got to shoot. You
That's
miss
right.
100% of the shots you don't take, so throw it all. And that's like the only way that I've learned how to throw so many different types of throws is by having the really bad ones at first.
Quincy Booth, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the win. Good luck tomorrow, and go celebrate.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Nice. Cute. All right. We got the cute chant. Thank you, Athena.
Thank you for joining us.
Wow, that was a loud interview, Anna.
That was. Were you prepped and ready for that?
I was not.
First team that we've had on our show ever. Since it's our show today.
Yeah, I mean, all day. That's the first team experience we've had.
We just keep going up and up with Legan the Stallion, Will Selfridge. What more can we do?
What more can we do? All right, what we can do is recap some of the other action. Let's talk about it. We had a bunch of good games that slate. On the men's side, I think Colorado and Carleton continued to cruise on, and Texas took down Utah in Pool A as well. On the women's side of the field, I'd like to point out that I finally got one on the board.
You did finally get one.
Yeah, Penn over Vermont by a pretty healthy margin, too. I think they knew that they were playing for my dignity.
Congratulations. I'll give you this one.
Thank you. Sydney Neal, Grace Maroon, Abigail Smith, all doing excellent work for them. And then we had another big comeback from UC Santa Cruz against Tufts.
The Santa Cruz game was bananas.
Nice pun there.
Thank you. Queued that one up for me. Real nice. 6-0 run out of half. Much needed to take the win. But Santa Cruz is an athletic team. They are... we're showing our highlights here from that. Rachel Chang, a top 3 vote for top 25 best player. They're a 3 seed. They're seeded pretty well to continue on, but needed to have this comeback win to be successful for the rest of this weekend. It was a fun game. It was a really, really fun game to watch.
Bit of a statement there as we see the back out of the end zone celly from Zane Bird Smith. I have not seen that one before. I love the creativity.
Me too.
All right, we took a look at the women's division standings as well, which was more or less where it was last round. There were only 4 games this round. The big action was in Pool A, where Georgia, with the win over UCLA, took a big step toward entering the bracket. Colorado should still have a leg ahead there as long as they can win their second game of the day in the final round of play here.
I'm really curious to see still how Pool D will shake out. Right now, Penn, with that win over Vermont, is positioned at the top of the pool. That Washington, as we know, dropped that game early this morning, but still clawing back to get good positioning moving into the brackets. But still have my eye on that pool.
Stanford, of course, faced the stiffest test of the day when they played Bruckus earlier, but they haven't played any of the other 3 pool leaders. So depending on how that one goes in their last round of the day, it could change things again seismically in what has been the most volatile pool, women's Pool D. We also had some men's action last round, a really good close game between Western Washington Dirt and Pittsburgh in Saba Noor. Pitt took that one at the end. It was a pretty strong performance from Pittsburgh. I believe we've got some highlights queued up for it. We should take a look at soon here.
It was quite the end of the game. It was very, very exciting. Happened right in front of our booth, in fact.
We'll take a look at the pools first just to see what everybody's playing for heading into the final round of the day. As we get a lovely shot of the field next to the fields. Yeah, that one was in Pool D, where Pittsburgh now sitting atop of it at 2-0. They're going to be there with North Carolina or Massachusetts, depending on which one wins the next round. They're playing each other in the final round of play today. Over in Pool C, Penn State about to play their second one of the day. Cal Poly lost to Carleton, but are in pretty good shape. And McGill, unlucky 0-2 at the end, are going to need to turn it on tomorrow in order to make the bracket. Oregon State looking to play their second game of the day. They'll need a win to make sure they're not fighting it out with Brown for the cellar. And we are now ready to take a look at the highlights for Pitt Western Washington.
A huge defensive play right here at the, a huge offensive play here at the very end to give Dirt their advantage. But Pitt here ended up bringing it out.
Massive layout.
Huge layout.
Everybody, let the bodies hit the floor, as they say.
Let the bodies hit the floor. There's been a lot of wind ball this round, too. It is as we continue to enjoy the blustery weather of Rockford, Illinois.
And what have been some of your favorite individual plays you've seen?
I had a front row seat to a very, very big layout grab by Lily Ladone in the Element Vermont game. And while Element did not bring out the dub, no pun intended, that round, it was still a massive play to see and to be a part of. Also, that same round, Western Washington versus Flywheel, 2 Callahans in the game. I guess you have to have 2 Callahans to win a game. It was so exciting to watch.
It seems to be the case. Youngsters, take note. If you want to win a game at College Nationals, your team needs 2 Callahans.
That's what they're doing.
The old Callahan's bookend. Okay, we're going to take a look at the schedule for the final round of play here today. A lot hinging on it. Over on the showcase field, one of the matchups everybody's been talking about all weekend long.
I'm very excited for the UNC-UMass game. I'm personally taking UMass. Very excited to see Ethan Lehman cut. One of my favorite players to watch, especially this weekend. I think also vying for position in the pool. We'll see how it rolls out.
Yeah, it is for position in the pool. It's also hopefully going to be the matchup that evens me out in our picks contest.
There you go.
Over the weekend.
Take it.
That's our highlighted game of the match. I'm taking UNC. They've been the more consistent team all year long.
That's fair.
I know that UMass has dealt with some issues with flights, some issues with sickness that have made their season difficult. But there are no excuses at College Nationals. They have to be consistent now. UNC's been doing it all year long.
No, and I'm excited. I think this will be the game to watch this next round.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. We're pretty pumped for it. At the fields as the teams are doing their pregame huddles with about 5 minutes to go before game time. We've got Toronto over here on the field to our immediate left. We've got the Michigan men about to play Oregon State on the field to our immediate right. Lots of bright colors, everybody getting into the flow of things. What do you like to do with 6 minutes left before a game?
That's a really great question, Edward. Something I actually read very recently was that athletes that perform at their very top level have those who eliminate screen time just before a big game often perform better in their game than those that sit on their phone, even with listening to music or things like that. Those that are on the field practicing their throws, on the court taking their shots, are going to perform better than those that are just sitting before a game.
Stay involved, be active, be your best.
There it is. Well said.
All right, we're going to take a quick break on the broadcast. When we come back, it will be Field Pass for the 5th and final round of pool play of the day. This will be a big one. Big Showtime showcase game between Stanford and Element. Big Field Pass game between UMass and Darkside, and we'll catch you on the other side of it.
See you then.
The best of College Ultimate is here, but this summer the game goes global. From the rising stars of World Junior Ultimate Championships to the seasoned battles of the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships to the biggest stage in Club Ultimate, the World Ultimate Club Championships. Watch the best of the best represent their countries, their clubs, and the future of the sport. Watch it all unfold live, exclusively on Ultiworld.
And the DC Shadow are your 2025 Premier Ultimate League champions.